certainly a fascinating thing that I don't think a lot of us have ever seen before. If you think about the Dallas Cowboys as a whole, you think to yourself, wow, seems like it's a cluster right now. Just everything is an absolute cluster. So if you think about Jerry Jones, he's getting called out because Mike Greenberg came on here yesterday and he said he's a cheap center in sports. Cheap center in sports, this guy. Plays poker every single time with all these contracts, and he always loses, has never learned his lesson, and he's currently staring down a situation where like 4 pillars of their team are either on the last year of their contract or pissed about their current contract, and that's the speculation, that's the noise. There's no fans at their practices in Oxnard, California. Now, I know the Rams and Chargers are obviously much more established brands now at this point than whenever the Cowboys were going to LA to kind of do the entire thing. But still, everything about the Dallas Cowboys has been this franchise kind of stinks, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though they won a bunch of games last year, Dak Prescott was potentially going to be on the MVP conversation. They lose in one playoff game. The whole thing gets blown up, and now we're staring down a lame duck year potentially for the head coach, Mike McCarthy, who's on the last year of his contract. That ripple effect through everything. The fans turned on him seemingly. The hype is no longer. Players are pissed. The team stinks. Well, training camp, joint practice yesterday. Dallas Cowboys did something I don't think I've ever seen before. D tackle. Albert Huggins in a one-on-one drill pushes equipment manager for Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, a couple of LA Rams players saw what happened, chased him down. If the audio was playing, you'd hear somebody saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" Push somebody who looks very young, an equipment manager. I've never seen this before. I think the Los Angeles Rams were very confused because you snap the ball whenever the center's doing a one-on-one to somebody that acts as if they're the quarterback. Their job is to get out of the way if they come close. Albert Huggins gets a win in his eyes, which I assume the center would say, "Not really. Quarterback slides to the other side of the pocket. He's good. We're in a good spot." That is the conversation of one-on-ones. But then Albert Huggins just sees somebody in front of him, shoves him down to the ground. Pretty big bump for the equipment manager.
Yep.
And seemingly his own coach pushes him, his own players. LA Rams guys, what are we even doing? Everybody else was probably so dumbfounded by the situation. You're pushing staffers, that isn't the case. We learned he is a camp intern, just graduated college. There are some people speculating, not only in this office, but other places, that was like a high school kid possibly, because high school kids do intern and ball boy for NFL teams. That was a college kid. So Albert Huggins, who's been around the NFL, out of Clemson, 2019 draft pick, he was immediately sent off the field. Everybody's like, what is, you don't just push equipment man. That's stupid. That is what everybody says. Albert Huggins goes, he was just in front of this bull red. What do you want from me? Kick him off the field. Well, then immediately afterwards, the Dallas Cowboys trade for an interior defensive lineman from the New York Giants in Jordan Phillips. So it seems like Albert Huggins' career is potentially over.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be out of the Dallas Cowboys, because Jordan Phillips was on the Buffalo Bills for the last few years. He goes to the New York Giants. I assume Joe Shane enjoys him, gets through camp. Now he's going to the Dallas Cowboys. We assume that's not good news for Albert Huggins. But for Jordan Phillips, you're not losing any sauce. Albert Huggins might have been a guy that brought some sauce.
Sure.
If you do recall, Jordan Phillips has some sauce.
Yeah.
This is him in Philadelphia Eagles, and he told them Johns, hey, none of your shit. You ain't shit, in other words, and started with the crowd. So Jordan Phillips going to the Cowboys wouldn't really be a conversation, but the fact that it comes from a pushing of a staffer to an ejection to a trade to we still get sauce. I like the thought that the Jones family is like, we can't lose that. I know we pushed a kid and a staff. We don't like that, but everything up to that we do like, right? Who can we find that potentially fills the void here? And then Jerry goes, I remember. Who's that fucking guy that was chewing out Philadelphia? We hate Philadelphia Eagles. Who's the guy chewing out Philadelphia Eagles fan? Jordan Phillips? Yeah, let's get him today.
Bring him in.
Let's get him today. He's in there. Interesting predicament. He's never played for the Giants, obviously, so Giants fans don't mind.
No.
But it is crazy to see these little things happen. In one quick decision that Albert Huggins, I don't think he knew what the hell he was doing in the moment. Obviously, have to know what you're doing in the moment. You can't just black out, push people and do that and be in the NFL. He's been around a long enough time to know that you can't do that. Been a journeyman too, so he knows that he isn't like a be who you can afford to be thing. But the fact that that is reality in the NFL. Okay, you do something this stupid, quickly, bang, boom, off field, trade somebody else in. That's the business of the NFL in a nutshell. And the Giants, I guess, will never get a chance to experience the sauce that Jordan Phillips potentially brings.
No. I from boots on the ground, he wasn't having the greatest camp, so I think he was third or fourth on our depth chart, and he's slotted to be second or third on the Cowboys. So kind of a good good win for Jordan Phillips as well. All of this just solidifies that we need the D-line Netflix TV show.
Yes.
For a deep dive into all these characters and the happenings of the interior defensive line.
I've said it since I got into the football world. Any football building you go into, if you were to mosey to the D-line room, that'll be the most entertaining room. Stop in other places, just so you know. Swing by the linebackers room, swing by the quarterback. They probably won't let you in, but swing by the quarterback room, wide receiver, running back, offensive line room. Certainly slide through a little bit of misery potentially there. Yeah. And then just poke your head into the D-line room and just see what's going on. Most entertaining group for sure. Also, 280, 290, 310, running 4.8s, 4.7s, 4.6s. I mean, it is a special group of people. Feels like Albert Huggins is potentially in the UFL after that. I don't know. There's a chance he's in the UFL.
Canada, maybe.
I don't know if Canada's going to. Canada's, like we saw, you can't get into it.
Not this Canada. They don't want that.
And if you get into our country, you can't get out either, right?
That's right.
In that news, there's a fee to leave, right?
Yeah, locking you in.
Yeah, you are screwed. You can't. You kind of just stuck wherever you are if you're. I don't know what happened. Okay,
What are we talking about? Gumpy got out, I guess, before.
Yeah, it was tough both ways wherever I was going.
Yeah, immigration is certainly something that is a topic of conversation. Our topic of conversation about it is about experiencing Gumpy being deported for 10-year ban and then having to go through the whole process was wild. But now, if you want to leave Canada, I think you got to pay a pretty
like $10,000 or something, isn't it?
I think it's more than. I think it's
is
a pretty
28 or something.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty big fee or whatever.
In a year of fighting fires.
Well, that's a crazy. Are we in the middle of that season right now? When is that season?
The wildfires were really bad in Calgary. They have slowed down though. But
so maybe we beat it because last year they got so wild that we couldn't even remember. We couldn't see.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the best part is they got so wild that they actually took some of the money that they had for taking care of the fires. So I mean,
okay, all right, Gumps. All right, Gumps. Well, we're happy everything's a-okay.